All right, so here is the quiz you guys took Friday. Probably 3 of you will watch it. So one of the methods is probably going to be the natural log over the natural log. So this is A, this is B. So I'm looking for natural log of 2x over natural log of 6, which is that one right there. I'm also looking for log of A over log of B because you're choosing the bases to be E and 10 respectively. So I'm looking for a log of 2x over log of 6, and that's that one. And the other one I'm looking for is where the bases, I don't know why I put a B there, but the bases match. And things are in the right place. Looks like choice 1. See on here, which is something a lot of kids picked last year, those numbers aren't the same. A frowny face and a smiley face are not the same. And hopefully you can see what's wrong with 2. We've got things backwards, right? So there you go. What is the understood base of a log of x? It's going to be 10. Look at your log key, right? It's 10. Now we have a graphing problem. Now, I'm doing this video prior to the test. On your last test, I think this had about a 55, 60% success rate. I'm hoping for mid 70% get it right. We'll see. We have a right 4. We have a down 7. Here's y equals -7. That's the horizontal asymptote. Notice it's going right there, -7. Range, -7 to infinity. Domain, -infinity to infinity because it's an exponential, because that's how the exponentials work. Kind of like the quadratics. Certain things always have that as their domain. Now, since I went right 4, I'm going to start at 4, and I'm also going to plug in a 5, and I'm old school, so I'm going to do this by hand. 4 times 2, x is going to be 4. 4 minus 4 minus 7. That's a minus sign. So this becomes 4 times 2 to the 0 minus 7. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So I have 4 minus 7, which is -3. I should get something a little smaller when I plug in 5, because I know, actually I should get something bigger. This is actually growth. So where was I? 4 times 2 to the 5 minus 4, and then take away 7. It's 4 times 2 to the first minus 7. 4 times 2 to the first. 2 to the first is 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 7 is 1. So I got 4, -3, and then I've got 5, 1. So I'm just going to come in really close to that asymptote and rise through those 2 points. And there is my graph. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Moving forward, number 4, find the inverse of this function. So to write an inverse, I won't beat this thing to death. You swap x and y. You resolve for y. And then you just use the correct notation. So if I'm going to swap x and y, this becomes x equals 2 times 7 to the y plus 2 minus 3. I'm going to go through the process of getting at this exponent, okay? So I'm going to have to isolate this base of 7. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract, sorry, I'm not going to subtract 3, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I'm going to have to switch over to pen now because the software just doesn't type very well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide out that 2. So x plus 3 over a 2 is a 7 to the y plus 2. And now we're going to go with the idea of log is base. Once you isolate the exponential piece, the base, you can do log is base. So you have a base of 7, log base 7, base, exponent, argument. Its argument is x plus 3 over 2, and that would equal y plus 2. And the last step is going to be to move that 2 over. And a lot of you make sign mistakes, but if you jump equality, you change your sign. So I'm looking for x plus 3 over 2 take away 2, which is that one. Looks good to me. 5 is the equation blah, 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 represent exponential growth or decay. This is less than 1, so it is decay. So anything that says growth is gone. And this is the guy that determines if you're decay or not. So anything else is just junk. This is called B. I think I explained that on the twin. This is A, B, so forth. It's B that's making it decay, not anything else. State the domain. So for a logarithm of argument A, the argument must be bigger than 0. So 6x minus 1 is greater than 0. You add 1, 6x is greater than 1. And then you divide by 6. X is greater than a sixth. And the only one that's saying that is choice B. Everything else has got signs wrong or something else wrong. Choice A is an extremely good distractor. A lot of kids will be picking choice A. Nothing I can do about that. You focus too much on the 0 aspect and forget that you actually have to do work. Who would have thought? We got another inverse. Swap X and Y. Next move would be to, change my color like I'm telling it to. Add 5. And the reason I'm doing this is I've been trying to isolate this logarithm. I am playing the isolation technique. It's all we play. It's the only game we play in algebra. Isolate, isolate, isolate. Some of y'all still ain't clicked on it. Isolation. Anyways, we got a base, we got an argument, which means all of this stuff is my exponent. So I have 3 to the x plus 5 equal to 3y plus a 2. Still playing the isolation game because just a few minutes ago, the goal was to resolve for y. 3 to the x plus 5 minus a 2 is thrice y. And if you look at your answer choices, you can kind of realize that you're not these two at this point in time. And the last maneuver is to simply divide both sides by 3. So this is what I'm looking for. Choice A. Here we have a solve. It wasn't multiple choice. They didn't make everything multiple choice. 3 responses, still kind of a big deal. We're going to add 2 and get 8. So 2 logs of 3x plus 2 is an 8. We're going to divide through by our 2. A log of 3x plus 2 is a 4. And that logarithm has an understood base of 10. Maybe it changed. Okay, it changed. So base, argument, exponent. 10 to the 4th must equal 3x plus 2. 10 to the 4th, I feel like that is 10,000. I graded some quizzes yesterday and a lot of y'all are still making sign mistakes. We're going to take away 2. It's going to be 9,998, and it's going to be equal to 3x. And then we're going to divide by 3. And I don't feel that that would simplify. I would be surprised if it did, but is there even a possibility? Maybe, because, like 6 times 3 is 18, so I guess it's possible an 8 could show up somehow. I'd be surprised, but it didn't. So 998 over 3 is the correct answer. Ta-da! All right, solve this little thing. We're going to add 10 because we always do easy first. Easy first. It's the way I teach. Divide by 3, or sorry, not 3, 4. So e to the 3x plus a 2 is a 6. We have a base, we have an exponent, and we have an argument. The natural log of 6 is 3x plus 2. Isolation, the natural log of 6 minus a 2 is a thrice x. Division, The natural log of 6 minus a 2 over a 3 is x. Now, if you want to know what it is, push buttons. Notice I did the new, I didn't feel like going to math, no N over D. There's your answer is decimal, about negative 0.0694. Darn close to it. Then we have this one. Hopefully this has gone well. I'm thinking in my head it's probably going to about have a 60-65% success rate. That's what I'm thinking. Hopefully you guys are doing better than what I'm thinking. So it's just a skill I'd really like to see that everybody figure out. Of course, you can't teach an elephant to climb a tree, now can you? But everybody ought to be able to look at the graph and figure out a little bit about it. When I made this problem, I picked nice numbers that would cross the x-axis pretty easy. So the graph is telling me that x equals negative 2 and x equals 3. Now, x equals negative 2 is the factor x plus 2, and x equals 3 is the factor x minus 3. So I know down here that I've got to have an x plus 2 and an x minus 3. So I'm literally like half done with this problem. Now the rest of it is kind of where it gets iffy, because y'all be slow. It's not supposed to take you 15 minutes to do synthetic division, but boy, it does. I'm going to do the negative 2 for no good reason first. This should generate a remainder of 0. We drop, we multiply, and we add, and we multiply, and we add. Interesting. And we multiply, and we add. I have a mistake somewhere, because that's not negative 150, that's negative 100. I was thinking about the result. And then we multiply, and we add. Now, because I have a remainder of 0, I drop down again. And I've been over this with you. You just haven't wanted to do it. This time we use a 3. We drop. Michael Norton, you need to figure this out. 3 times 2 is 6. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. 50 plus 0 is 50. 3 times 50 is 150. Remainder of 0. Remainder, constant, x squared. That was the goal. The goal on this was to always get down to x squared. So 2x squared plus 50 must be where the last 2 zeros are. 2x squared must be negative 50. X squared must be negative 25. So x must be plus or minus 5 imaginary units. So these are your 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I'm a negative 5i, my factor is going to be a plus 5i. If I'm a positive 5i, my factor is a minus 5i. Easy peasy Japanesey. So I broke 11 into 2 parts just to see how many kids could actually do the basic part, which is plugging in a number, because I was curious. So you're supposed to find f of 8 in part 1. That's going to be the root of twice an 8 minus a 4. It's going to be the root of 16 minus 4, which is a root of 12. And it does say simplify your radical. Well, root 12 is root 3 times root 4, and root 4 is 2. So 2 root 3 is my simplified radical. Now it says plug that result into G to find the actual question, G of f of 8. So here's G. A 2 is encountered. I'm going to plug my result, 2 root 3 in, and then I have a minus 5. And then I just multiply, and I get 4 root 3 minus 5. So like that's not hard. Like that's a skill I think everybody should be able to do, except for a handful, because God bless them. Hey, yeah, another inverse. That's a third inverse on this thing. Apparently, I think you should be able to write inverses. Put that little e there. because it's an ln. First off, I don't know what I'm doing. You're supposed to swap x and y. We're going to subtract 3. And again, I put the understood e there. And now she is ready for the 4th time in this video to become an exponential. And why not? Base, argument, exponent, e to, oddly enough, this e, which is x minus 3, is equal to, I didn't do a change here, did I? That's supposed to be a y. Y minus 1. We add 1, e to the x minus 3, plus 1 is y. So this is what I'm looking for. E to the x minus 3 add 1. Perfect. You invest $1,000 into an account that pays 8.2% compounded continuously. How much money will be in your account after 5 years? And you're supposed to use PERT. So let's see here. This is my time. The amount in 5 years is the principal of 1,000 times E, 8.2%. I've noticed a couple of kids still can't do this. 0.082. 0.082, because it's RT, and then 5 years times 5. And we just take that magical thing right there, and we go to our calculator, and we push some effing buttons. And that's what we get. 1506.82. See? So easy. So easy a caveman could do it. Let's see, this question is about Dullville. Dullville, population 3,750, is slowly decaying at a rate of 8% every 7 years. So when you see the every, you're looking for a divisor in the exponential space. So it's not a, you're looking for something over a 7. Now decay is the principal times 1 minus r, and in this case it's t over 7, okay? So 8% equals 0.08. So 1 minus 0.08, I'm looking for a 0.92. You know, if you don't know what 1 minus 0.08 is, that's kind of the problem now, isn't it? Kind of is. Covert, I don't know why it says covert, convert your 7-year model into a yearly model. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our model, 3750.92, and we're going to move this guy. We're going to move part of t over 7 is a 7th of t. So we're going to move that 1/7 to the interior. And then we're going to do something that none of y'all seem to ever want to do when I give you a quiz, and that's push buttons. I don't know why I'm struggling with getting y'all to do that. You still want to do things your way. This is not frickin' Burger King. This is my classroom. You do it my way because you're here to learn how I do math. That's what you're here to learn. 0.9882 is what I'm looking for. See that? 0.9882. And only one answer choice has a 0.9882. Choice B. What is Dullville's yearly decay rate? So notice that this is principal times 1 minus r. These pieces line up. It's a lineup process. 1 minus r equals 0.9882. And then we're just going to move stuff around. I don't really care how you move things around. I've noticed a lot of y'all still like default to early ages and you just always shift left. Anyways, I'll move the r to the right because that makes it positive. The left is going to become 1 minus 0.9882. And if I have to go push some buttons in the calculator, so be it. Of course, I did this as a percentage. I got 0.0118. So move that thing 2 places, and you're looking at choice D. All right, when will there be just 5 Dullvillians? Good question. This is going to be one of the probably next week. We're going to focus more on doing these by hand, as opposed to just looking at a graph, because you do need to figure out how to start doing some of this stuff by hand to a large degree. So when there's just going to be 5 of these little Dolvillians, so it's going to be 5 equals, use your original model, 3750.92 to the t over 7, and y1 and y2, that's son of a gun. Now, zoom 6 is useless. I'm going to go out 600 years. I'm just scanning the answer choices. I already know the answer's not that one. I don't know what the answer is, but it's not D. Window. All right, let's look out 600 units. Notice I'm not looking up because I just put a 5 into Y1. There it is. Second trace 5. Enter, enter, enter. So I'm looking for 0.76419. There she is. Now, nearest year, day, hour, and so forth. It's obviously 555 years. All right, that's obvious. So if I take away that whole part, I got 0.76419. And this is in years. That's a year. Well, there's 365 days in a year, not including leap year or whatever. So 278 days. I don't do a conversion to months because some months have different than others. Let's see here. Take away that whole unit of 278. This is still in days. Let's multiply it by 24 to get a whole hour. 22 hours. Take away our 22. And let's convert this 3/10 of an hour into minutes by multiplying by 60. So this will be a little over 18 minutes. 18 minutes. And let's take that fractional 0.22264 and convert it to seconds by multiplying by 60. And we'll just round this to whatever it's closest to, 16 seconds. That's how you do your unit conversion. Not a hard skill. Not even that time consuming. We have an expansion here. And the joke on you is these are all right. But it talks about completely. And every one of these is correct to some degree. But it is a complete expansion. %, a complete expansion. So I'm going to manipulate the stuff inside first. And every one of these is partially correct. I want to make note of that. Every one is partially correct. But I wanted a complete expansion. But every one of them is partially correct. So I know that 16 over 8 is 2. I also taught you guys how to shift exponents around. Like I can move that down low, move that x to the 7th, and leave that one alone. So that's what happens when you simplify the interior. Now, when you start breaking things apart, you've got a log base 4 of 2 plus a log base 4 of y cubed minus a log base 4 of x to the 7th minus a log base 4 of z cubed. I really should have made that one of the answer choices. I'll probably put that in there next. So let's say that was choice. This thing is really, really close. Your 3 needs to go out here, your 7 needs to go out here, your 3 needs to go out there. So let's look at some stuff. I got to have a negative 3 log base 4 of z. That one's, these two have it. I guess this one is not. This one's completely incorrect. It needs to have that 3. This one, somebody forgot to put the decimals on. So it's really a choice between A and B, and I'm going to put that back on C. I've got to have a -7 log base 4 of x. They all have it. This is the real question. What power of 4 is 2? Now, probably a 30, you can't answer that. That's kind of sad, but it is what it is. But you can go to your calculator, and you can see what it is. You could do ln2 over ln4. And it's a half. Choice A. I left 16 as a free response just because I wanted to see some things and see what you knew, what you didn't know. That's one thing free response does, lets you know what kids know. So look at this last number, 6 ln e. I got $100 says it's 6. And it is. This is 6. It's not even going to be inside the logarithm. Now it can be. Like I'll accept it inside the logarithm. But anyways, we have a singular logarithm. She's going to contain 4x times x to the 5th. 4 needs to be moved up front. Over y to the 4th, because this is negative, times z plus 2. And then we have plus the 6. This needs to be cleaned up. I'm curious to see how many kids don't. And I will dock you if you don't clean it up. That's condensing everything that can be a logarithm. I would probably also accept if you did ln of 4x times x to the 5th, y to the 4th down low, z plus 2 up top, and then this would be e to the 6th. I really don't see much wrong with this because you did what they asked, you condensed completely, but make sure you realize that this is 4x to the 6th. Make sure you do that. But anyways, there's 16, all the various ways. 17, solve with the assistance of technology. I'm a big fan of ln, so I'm going to rewrite this as ln of 4x minus 1 over ln of 4, and then plus 2. y2, I would rewrite ln of 2x plus 3, sitting over ln of 9, and then minus 5. And right now I'm just pushing buttons. So I did his M6. That's what you're supposed to do. And it doesn't look like there's an answer, but I did tell you the other day that calculators don't draw logarithms, right? So second trace 5 from intersect. Once you can see your cursor, press enter, enter, enter. 0.3030, because I want 4th decimal place. It's always 4th. All right. In words, what is log base 8 of 64 asking? It says, what power of 8 equals 64? The answer to that is 2. Simple, we've done that. And the last one before I pass out here. You are purchasing a decked out F-350 King Ranch for $109,789. Your credit sucks, so you got a 7-year loan at 8.9 interest compounded monthly for 7 years. Determine the total amount you will owe the bank. So hopefully you figured out you're gonna use compound interest. The amount owed in 7 years is gonna be astronomically high, as is your monthly payment. Let's see here, 8.9 is 0.089 monthly and is 12. 7 years, 12 times 7. Interesting. All right, so we got 109, 789, 1 plus 0.089, sitting pretty over 12, and the exponent's going to be 12 times 7, which happens to be 84. Wow, $204,232. And how many pennies? 98 pennies. That's a truck, by the way. This is a very nice truck. Some of you ladies don't know what this is. This is a very nice truck. It's a work truck, too. But anyways, that thing's going to cost you $204,000. Now, you're going to figure out your monthly payment by realizing that it's a 7-year loan and it's a monthly payment. So 7 times 12 is 84. By dividing that thing by 84. By the way, look at how much interest you paid. You paid almost $100,000 in interest. Anyways, divided by 84, 24, 31, 35. A lot of the car makers are actually only in business because of financing. They make so much money off of interest that that's what actually keeps the doors open. Because I mean, they sold you a vehicle for $110,000 and then almost another $100,000 in interest payments. That's what's keeping the lights on. It's crazy, huh? So there's your test. Good news is I didn't see anything I really had to fix, so I'm good with that.